Our Father in heaven, thank you for the gift of life, for your grace and mercy that endures forever. May we not take this for granted as we approach the end of time. I pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Our message is entitled, To Execute His Judgments. Psalm chapter 136, verses 10 to 16. The King James Version Bible has this to say: To him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, for his mercy endureth forever, and brought out Israel from among them, for his mercy endureth forever. With a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endures forever. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever. And made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever. But overthrow Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which led his people through the wilderness, for his mercy endureth forever. Ellen G. White, Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 1, 1870, she has this to say: In the deliverance of Israel from Egypt, God plainly showed his distinguished mercy to his people. Before all the Egyptians, God saw fit to execute his judgments upon Pharaoh, that he may know by sad experience, since he would not otherwise be convinced, that his power was superior to all others, that his name might be declared throughout all the earth. He would give exemplary and demonstrative proof to all nations of his divine power and justice. It was the design of God that these exhibitions of power should strengthen the faith of his people, and that their posterity should steadfastly worship him alone, who had wrought such merciful wonders in their behalf. The miracle of the rods becoming a serpent and the rivers being turned to blood did not move the hard heart of Pharaoh, only to increase his hatred of the Israelites. The work of the magicians led him to believe that these miracles were performed by magic, but he had abundant evidence that this was not the case. When the plague of frogs was removed, God could have caused them to disappear and return to dust in a moment. But he did not do this, lest after they should be removed, the king and the Egyptians should say that it was the result of magic, like the work of the magicians. They died, and then they gathered together into heaps. Their bodies could see before them, and they corrupted the atmosphere. Here the king and all Egypt had evidences which their vain philosophy could not dispose of, that this work was not magic, but a judgment from the God of heaven. The magicians could not produce the lies. The Lord would not suffer them to make it even appear to their own sight, or to that of the Egyptians, that they could produce the plague of the lies. He would remove all excuse of unbelief from Pharaoh. He compelled even the magicians themselves to say, "This is the finger of God." Next came the plague of the swarms of flies. They were not such flies as harmless annoy us in some seasons of the year, but the flies brought upon Egypt were large and venomous. Their sting was very painful upon man and beast. God separated his people from the Egyptians and suffered no flies to appear throughout their coasts. The Lord then sent the plague of the murrain upon their cattle, and at the same time preserved the cattle of the Hebrews, that not one of them died. Next came the plague of the boil upon man and beast, and the magicians could not protect themselves from it. The Lord then sent upon Egypt the plague of the hail mingled with fire, with lightnings and thunder. The time of each plague was given before it came, that it might not be said to have happened by chance. The Lord demonstrated to the Egyptians that the whole earth was under the command of the God of the Hebrews. The thunder, hail, storm obey his voice. Pharaoh, the proud king who was once inquired, "Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice?" humbled himself and said, "I have sinned. The Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked." He begged Moses to be his intercessor with God, that the terrific thunder and lightning might cease. The Lord next sent the dreadful plague of the locust. The king chose to receive the plagues rather than to submit to God without remorse. He seized his whole kingdom under the miracle of these dreadful judgments. The Lord then sent darkness upon Egypt. The people were not merely deprived of light, but the atmosphere was very oppressive, so that breathing was difficult. Yet the Hebrews had a pure atmosphere and light in their dwellings. One more dreadful plague God brought upon Egypt, more severe than any before it. It was the king and his idolatrous priest who opposed to the last request of Moses. The people desired that the Hebrews would be permitted to leave Egypt. Moses related to Pharaoh and to the people of Egypt, also to the Israelites, the nature and effect of the last plague. On that night, so terrible to the Egyptians and so glorious to the people of God, was the solemn ordinance of the Passover instituted. Ellen G. White, Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 1, 1870, pages 215 to 218. I truly appreciate your support and prayers for this ministry. May God our Father continue to bless you, and his Son be gracious to you, now and forevermore. Amen.